Started.
Welcome. Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group for February 15th, 2024. This is our 107th study group class. Today we're going to interview Heather Mylan-Mains. Heather's going to be talking about understanding organizational change and empathy. Our mission here is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage our BA community. You are important to us regardless of what part of the world you live in. We are the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter, but we have people from all over the world that are members and participate and watch our recordings. Incidentally, if you watch our recordings, we would love to hear from you. Contact us through LinkedIn and just let us know that we're making an impact because we're doing this for the good. We've given you a variety of ways to reach out to us. This is our Thursday night study group from 7 to 8 o'clock Eastern. We also have LinkedIn groups, Meetup, Zoom, study group materials, and meeting recordings. The meeting recordings are almost all of our 107 today meetings that we've had, and we've gone through the BABOK twice with practice test questions. So if you're interested in taking any of the BABOK certification tests, those questions are out there ready. And we don't just go through the question, we talk about why each answer is right or wrong. The conversation is fantastic. I encourage you to engage that. Watermark Learning has been our constant supporter through this study group. They've given us not only access to their practice test questions, but they've also given us access to a discount code for us to share with you. The discount code is Tampa 21. It will give you 20% off of any of their products. They not only have business analysis products, but they have a variety of other product topics. So I encourage you to look out and see what they have. We are a volunteer-led organization. Our leadership is Cliff here in the Millennium Falcon. Yulia is our Vice President of Finance. We have board members at large. We have Uche and Vivian, and RP Churchill, not on our board, but he is our very, very faithful and wonderful CBAP that attends almost every single class. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the Vice President of Career and Professional Development for the chapter. It's my job to help you if you need mentoring, if you need questions answered, if you just need direction, if you just want to know what business analysis is. I can give you an explanation. Reach out to me through LinkedIn and I'll be glad to spend some time with you. I've had 6 phone calls this week. So I'd like to just go ahead and make the meeting or meet through LinkedIn. If you're interested in being on our board, reach out to me through LinkedIn. We do have a few new members, but if you're interested, we will put you to work in a way that makes your job better, makes our job better, and lifts us all up. We have 3 people that typically attend our chapter meetings, our study groups, and this is why you get a study group credit for this hour. Bob has a website. It's rpchurchill.com. It is fantastic. It has not only business analysis, but lean, mechanical engineering, simulation creation, development, quite a number of other topics, and he consistently works on it. He also has created a fantastic inventory, like an index to all of our study sessions. So if you're interested in a specific part of the BABOK or a specific topic, you can click on that on his index, which is accessible through rpchurchill.com, and just link straight to it through YouTube. We do like to celebrate our wins. We have a variety of people that have reached out to us and said, because of your study group, we were able to pass the test. And so if you're one of those people, we want to give you credit here and we want to celebrate that. It's very exciting to us. IIBA currently has 7 different ways to get certified. These 3 up here on top are the 3 that we typically work at. These are certifications because of studying the BABOK, the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. So if you need more information on that, reach out to me as well. Let's see our schedule for today. Today we are going to listen to Heather Mylan-Mains. She's going to have a conversation with us about understanding change and empathy. The following week, next week, we're going to have LN. Let's see, I think I made a slide for him. Mishra is going to come and talk to us. LN leads Adaptive US. but he's not coming for a commercial. He's coming to talk about the preparing for the BABOK tests, those 3 that we talked about a while ago, and the mechanics of the test. So if you want to know what's currently going on with those tests, come and listen to him. On the 29th, Paula Bell is going to come talk about BA skills and her career path. Her career path has spanned so many interesting things, and it's things that I want to be sure that business analysts know that you've developed these skills from being a business analyst. You can go on to do these other things, which are very exciting. On March 7th, Jennifer Batan, pardon me, is coming to talk to us about design thinking. She has some fantastic ways to get a team to get to the goal of what they want to do using interesting things like Legos. I'm going to turn it over to Heather now and let her start her presentation and give my voice a break.
Okay. Well, before we get started, I love who's going to be brave and show their face. Let's just have a little quick like pretend we're together.
I'm here.
I see Thea, I see Carl, I see yay Andrea. So I probably don't know a lot of you. My name is Heather Mylan-Mains. I've been with IIBA a long time. Many years ago, I can't even remember how many years ago, I was a chapter president in Central Iowa. So I'm from Iowa. Paula Bell and I are actually same town. So I'm feeling like, oh, it's always nice to hear that. Uh, so I started off my career with IIBA. Actually, I was an accountant, and IIBA was brand new, and someone had this idea that certain companies in town would have representatives, and I was interested in volunteering, and my boss recommended me, and I just got invited to participate and learned all about what business analysis is. Watermark's an excellent company. I got my formal training through a different company, B2T training, and I had a developer who told me, by the way, Heather, you're really BA. I'm like, what is that? So I have this whole, I'm not a technical person. I started off as an accountant doing time and cost allocations and worked on a system, and someone said, you're this BA. So I've just learned it. And through that career, I want to applaud everyone. So round of applause for everyone that's on the board, because volunteering for a chapter board, if you want to become a better business analysis professional, volunteer for IIBA. Paula was a volunteer on a chapter board when I was president as well. So we have roots. Many people, and Jen Batten was a chapter president from Minneapolis. So you've got these people who've moved up and changed their career. I have been serving for just ending my 8th year on the international board of IIBA, and I represent each of you as a practitioner. I'm a practitioner by day, and have volunteered for IIBA and learned a lot of strategy and a lot of different things. So I encourage everyone to get involved. So I applaud each of you for taking time out of your day to be here, and I applaud you for learning to get your certification. I am also a CBAP, and I never will let that expire because, boy, it's an amazing certification. Once you get it, you don't want to lose it. And so thank you, Thea, and everyone involved for making that happen. So I live in Des Moines, Iowa. I've been a BA for I think Thea and Eric doing a presentation together. She's longer than some of y'all have been alive. Not quite that long individually, but close. And I love business analysis. It is my favorite thing ever. I don't want to be a project manager. I don't want to be a product owner. I want to do business analysis. So organizations are going to call it something different. It's all the same stuff. So what we're going to talk about today, one of the things I am really passionate about business analysis, and in fact, I am confident that the things that we're going to talk about tonight are not something that will be replaced by artificial intelligence. There's a lot of interest within our community about, well, what will my job look like in the future? I feel so visionary because I've refused to learn SQL for a long time. And really that's what AI is for now. So I didn't need to learn it ever. I say that in jest. I still have to understand the questions and
Don't go
understand the
there.
premise and the people.
I'm the data
It's true,
guy in
though.
this group. Don't say SQL. But you're
God bless
right.
you. God bless you, Cliff. God bless you. I appreciate you. I'm mostly joking about that, but it's true. It's not been something that is not my business analysis. Is such a broad thing. There are lots of things we can talk about. So we're going to talk tonight a little bit about people And I am very passionate about people. I'm passionate about considering the people. The data is important, the processes are important, but so are the people. So we're going to talk about some aspects of understanding the people and the humans involved that we are so complex and so unique, and the processes that we work in are also that complex and so unique that will not be replicated. So our ability to hone some of the soft skills that are probably not as much a focus in the BA-BOK, and I've advocated, FYI, that we do some things such as organizational change. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and really understanding and empathizing with people, especially given COVID. We have, as a international community, had a shift in what we care about and how we need to work with people. So it's not easy. So by raise of hand, who feels like working with people is easy? Let me see. Anybody? No, it is definitely not. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to hopefully be able to get my presentation up. No, people are quite now you're going to see me struggle with technology. Slideshow from beginning. Hopefully you can see.
Very good.
Now, at any point, ask questions, comments. This is a conversation more than a presentation. So definitely, and I am also open and very willing to accept different ideas or thoughts or challenges to what I say. So this is all about learning together. So understanding people and change is kind of what I've taken a combination of probably 4 or 5 different presentations I've done to come up with some decks. Let's see if I can get this to go. Move. Okay, let's talk for just a minute. I want you to think about each of these questions, and I'm going to ask you, can you see? Let's see, I need to hide that. Can you see this wheel?
Yes.
There are, definitely there's some answers here. So I want you to think right now, and I'm going to, Thea, you can help moderate for me. You can
Sure.
use the chat. You can raise your hands somehow. So I want you to think about number one. So you've been assigned as the lead BA for a mission critical project in your organization. So tell me how you feel. Take a look at this wheel, take a minute and think where you fall on that wheel. So does anyone feel like that's the best thing ever? Tell me, Thea, what they say. Best thing ever?
No responses at all.
Okay.
They are paralyzed.
Make a choice. No, there's no wrong answer, no judgment at all. Safe space.
I tell you what, I will tell her what the responses are, but not who
Yep.
gave them. So just type
Yeah.
in what your responses are.
Perfect.
Okay, I've got a best thing ever. So exciting. Don't know.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and
So,
this is bad.
okay, so great. That means we all have different feelings about this. So the next question, let's see. My team is transitioning from waterfall to agile. That might not be happening for very many of you. You might be in a fragile state or a fragile state. How do you feel about that?
I've got a don't know.
Mhm.
This is bad. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this feeling okay. I can do this.
Okay, so
Best
not
thing ever
that.
on everything. I love this stuff.
Oh, well, hey, good for you. That is awesome. You are a team player. Number 3, I've been asked to lead a team of developers, BAs, and PMs, or what you might call an Agile or a Scrum team. You're going to lead them all. How do you feel about that?
I can do this. Overwhelmed. Feeling okay. Don't know. Feeling okay. Feeling okay. Worried.
I love that you're adding words. So kudos to whoever's doing that. I can add those to my next wheel. That's awesome. Okay, a variety of feelings. All right, next one. I have an opportunity to present my ideas, oh my goodness, ideas to improve business analysis in my organization to the C-level managers, so a CEO, CIO. You get to do that. How you feeling?
Best thing ever. Best thing ever. Best
Yeah.
thing ever. I can do this. So excited.
Ooh, that's so interesting.
I
Oh,
need to dumb
awesome.
it down. So excited. Feeling
Sorry,
okay.
I had to sneak that in.
I had to dumb it down. Yes, there is a certain way we need to speak to those people for sure.
Yes.
Okay, well that's a great one. So number 5, I've been assigned the task to cut expenses by eliminating 10 positions in my organization. How do you feel about that?
This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I will fail. Don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
can do this.
A little bit different, right? So you
This
can
is
see
bad.
from these scenarios, and you may not be involved, although I can tell you as a business analysis professional, I have been involved in projects that the goal is to streamline, and our person who was the lean person probably was involved in that too. I mean, oftentimes in organizations, cutting expenses means cutting people, and it's business and it's hard. And that can be difficult when you have to work with that. It's terrible. It's interesting that the group was so excited to present ideas to the C-level managers, but um, weren't excited about leading the team, or were worried about being a lead BA. So we all have different ways we do this. Can you at least relate to some of these scenarios that you might be faced with in your work?
I'm actually working with the VPs right now to get all the BAs in my organization certified. We're talking hundreds of BAs.
Oh, that's so exciting. So exciting. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that all of those scenarios dealt with people. And I am one of my catchphrases as a professional as business analysis is the people business. You can see here, this is a quote from the Business Analysis Standard. It is a human-centric creative endeavor. What words in this definition stand out to you?
Changes to the organization.
Okay.
Y'all
Yeah.
come off mute and
Yeah,
say it.
talk. It's safe. It's totally safe. I'm a Midwesterner. I'm very nice. Totally safe.
Somebody said, this is why I like working with data. People can be the worst. Another word, exploratory.
Yeah. Hmm. Any other
Creating
thoughts?
desired outcomes.
Hmm.
Creative.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of things. So the standard is talking about how our job is really complex. It is not easy to describe what business analysis is. Business analysis is different in every organization. But I would tell you, there isn't a time I've ever worked with someone or worked on anything that I don't have to involve a person, even if it's a data person. There is still a person behind that data. So it is very much human centric. So we're going to talk a little bit about different ways that we work with people. Who are they? Why is that important? So I'm going to ask the group a question. Why do you think it's important in our work to understand the people you're working with? What are your thoughts?
You need to understand what their motivations are and how to communicate to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take time to understand them, you don't have either one of those two important things.
I
Yeah.
agree, Thea. It's the triangle of people, technology, and data. If you have one out, it doesn't really work.
Right. It falls
Yep.
down.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, think about everything you've worked on. Have you ever worked on something where you didn't work with a person?
Nope.
No, I can't think of one. I also can't think of a process that doesn't have data or data that doesn't have a process. It's all tightly connected. So understanding the people is really, really important. We can agree on that. And we all have different ways that we communicate. So just a super quick, one of the things to understand about a person is that we have different ways we learn. Some of you are auditory learners. You're pretty rare. You can just listen to something and hear it. I am not an auditory learner. Um, Visual learners, they need a picture. Kinesthetic, you can see in the screen a person's having an interaction with that tablet. I need to touch it, feel it, test it. I need to understand how it flows. So we all have different ways that we learn, and understanding that about people is part of the reason, part of what we need to understand. And we need to understand that because as we prepare for changes, we're going to have to communicate, and understanding how people learn and how we talk to them is part of that. I want to do a little brief shout out. How many people have heard of the 5 love languages? Go ahead and put something in the chat or somehow indicate, have you heard of the 5 love languages? Gary Chapman has written it, and he's written many different kinds of adaptations of it. If this is brand new, it's going to be extra exciting. Is there anybody it's brand new for?
We've got one.
Okay, so it's not. And have you heard of this particular one, the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace?
No.
Okay, so this is
I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of the 5 love languages, but not
okay.
the appreciation.
Right, so this one is a good one to be aware of because it takes a look at how do we appreciate each other. Why do you think it's important in organizations, and especially as business analysis professionals, why is it important that we appreciate people?
Motivate them.
You want them to do work.
You want them to do work? Yes, and motivating for sure.
But it also is a way to draw them closer and build trust. I actually wrote this today. A well-placed, thoughtful compliment. It's like a pulling them closer to your heart somehow. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. I have personally, I think Thea is the only one who knows me personally, but I have been described or given feedback that my ability to network and to get people to talk to me and tell me things that they cannot believe anyone would ever share is far superior to any analysis skills I ever have. And part of the reason that I'm able to do that is just what you said, Thea. I truly love people. I'm curious about them. I'm empathetic. I care about what's going on in their life, and I want to learn how they are appreciated. So we all have appreciation differently. I'm going to talk through a little bit of this.
We also got in the text feeling of belonging whenever you are appreciated.
Yeah, one of the great things about your community, and I'm so happy to be invited in to get a peek at it, is that this community is a place that people want to come to, that they feel safe to share, that you can learn together and you can fail together and ask questions. I mean, that is huge, for sure. So words of affirmation, for someone who has read the 5 love languages, what is words of affirmation? Could you describe it?
Well, Heather, I just love it that you asked me that question. It is a way to say that what you have is valuable, and it's a way to maybe describe some of it. I love how creative you are. I love how forthcoming you are. I love how you are inquisitive and how you're curious and you don't have a closed mind. And I mean, that's words of affirmation.
That is, and you know what? How many of you, and if you feel comfortable answering, please do. If you don't, that's okay too. How many of you really appreciate an atta girl, atta boy? You did a great job. Does that make you feel like you're appreciated?
Yeah.
Yeah, a few of you.
Well, it depends on the manner, but yeah.
Yeah, because it does. Is it genuine? Is it just
that's what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Right.
So Thea did an excellent job of using language to describe attributes, and specific, this would be an example where I would use another technique that's in the BABOK, which is a scenario. So I would say, I really appreciated how you were able to handle that difficult conversation in the meeting with Paul or whatever. You can be specific because that gives not only the affirmation, but it gives them information about what they can keep doing and do better. So words of affirmation in the workplace, fairly innocuous as far as the 5 love language go, but really important. But not everyone cares. That's not the way everyone's appreciated, surprisingly. Quality time. So quality time. Who could express or explain what a quality time is in the concept of a love language?
Uh, I take it to training usually, and it's like spending the time with people out of your diary to actually provide them some time to actually try to take them through a journey is usually really appreciated. So some people really like when you take the time to be with them and either talk about something, teach them something. Yeah.
Yeah, and give them their full attention. Sometimes I say, don't just listen with your ears, but listen with your eyes. Put down your phone, put down your tablet, be present. That's a very common thing to hear. Be present with someone and really listen, hear what they're saying, and be empathetic as you're talking to them. So that's the quality time in the workplace. I think that's hard. Uh, I know that that's hard for us as a society. We become so distracted. Um, some of us on this call remember a time without a smartphone.
No, we don't.
Some of us on this
Yeah.
call may not have that memory, and life was very, very different. So that concept of being present and listening has shifted in our society, and we are distracted. How many of you can recall either, and this might happen for you, you are with a group of people, but all of you are sitting together, but you're all on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not uncommon,
And
right?
and quality time from somebody that you respect or admire is
Yeah.
so valuable.
It is. It is. And so that, thinking about that as appreciation. Next one is acts of service. So who can describe acts of service from the concept of the love languages?
I don't know, like if someone needs to cover for you for a meeting, then you know what, I'm there. You're in a team and you volunteer when someone needs you to take notes or do
Yeah.
something for them. Engage a stakeholder that you may be more familiar with.
Yeah.
Things
Great.
like that.
Excellent.
Is that feeling of somebody has your back, that
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness, right? It could be that someone brings the team lunch. It could be that someone stays late to clean up if you're having an activity. It could be that yeah, completing tasks. That's perfect. All those kinds of things. So think about yourself. If you are feeling overwhelmed and someone just tells you you're doing a great job, or someone sits down and listens to you as you talk about being overwhelmed, or somebody steps in and says, what can I help take off your plate? Which one of those makes you feel the most appreciated? Do you have an idea?
Take off my plate.
Yeah, like help me, help
That's
me.
probably the rarest, but yes.
Well, and I know for myself, these have shifted over time. They're not always the same. It depends on what's going on in my life. Okay, good. So you're getting an idea what it is too. So tangible gifts. Um, there are times when companies will give you, a gift card or tickets to something. But again, thinking through the scenario, what I just said, you're overwhelmed. Somebody might say, "Hey, great job, you're doing awesome," and you're thinking, "I'm drowning." That's so you're not feeling appreciated. They're not taking the time maybe to listen to me. No one's picking up my task, but they give me a gift card to Target or somewhere or my favorite restaurant. Is that going to help you feel appreciated? And it might be. Maybe that's how you feel appreciated, right? Would
Yes,
anyone take the
yes,
gift card?
but it's temporary sometimes.
Ah,
It's a temporary
yeah.
fix.
Yep. True. So maybe not true appreciation. The next one is in the workplace. It seems a little bit odd, but physical touch is still very much a part of being connected as humans. So depending on the comfort level when you interact with each other, of course, COVID changed this too. You know, high fives, handshakes,
Fist bumps.
hugs, fist bumps, something, you know, just or physically being near someone. We as human people, I mean, that's very much of a need of ours. If we talk about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it fits in there too. So it might be that that is something that you would appreciate. Like if somebody give you a high five or a pat in the back, that might feel really good, and you like that. So those are some ideas about different ways that people can feel appreciated, and that's going to play into this whole concept of change and understanding people. So if we think about those questions in the beginning and how you felt about each of those scenarios, if someone is going to make those changes and you need to be part of them, certainly just springing the question on you and being voluntold, this is what you're doing next. Does that ever feel good? By the way, you get to
No.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. No, I never feels good for me. But if someone understands me, they understand how I learn, how to communicate with me, they understand a little bit about how I feel appreciated, that's going to play into how we can manage change in our organizations. And this next section could be a 2 or 3 hour conversation. So I'm going to condense some ideas. I'm going to give you a book reference. And I want you to think about how we plan and prepare change and how that all plays into understanding the people and how it works. So first of all, we should understand the people that are going to be involved, and we should be mindful of how they learn, how they feel appreciated. And we also need to think about what needs to change and how that change will impact them. So John Cotter is a masterful change management author. I would highly recommend this book. It's a cute, quick read, and it goes through some steps of change. So one of the things that you think about with change is that you need to establish a sense of urgency. So let's take that example where 10 positions need to be eliminated. Let's say that there are 100 people that work in an organization. We'll make it really small. And the sense of urgency is that you cannot meet the next payroll. No matter what, you cannot meet the next payroll. And either everyone loses their job or you can tighten your belt and 90 people get to stay. Does that make you feel any different about that situation? What do you think?
It's a hard thing, but something has to change.
Yes, it is a hard thing, and the sense of urgency is we literally cannot. We will fold as a company if we do not do something. So that sense of urgency, and being communicated with, and and maybe there's another way, a different solution that the group can come up with. But something has to be done. There is a problem we have to solve, right? So the next step would be forming a powerful guiding coalition. So that idea is, let's get a group of people together with different expertise, different viewpoints, and talk about what needs to change. In this book, there's a penguin that notices the iceberg is melting, and the penguins, of course, live on this iceberg. And he's like, this iceberg is not going to last another season. We need to physically move, or else we're all going to drown. Is sort of the concept of the sense of urgency. The guiding coalition is, let's get the people on the iceberg that have the best skills in communication, in architecture, in understanding the trends of ice and travel and options. Whoever it is, you need to get these people together, and that includes getting someone who can lead the change. You need to have someone, and in our cases, it's going to be a senior leader. Who is going to be our change? You might have heard change champion. That's another word. So that could be on the group of people. So get people together. The next thing is you have to create a vision. You have to get people to understand what the vision is, what the future looks like. So if I have to eliminate 10 positions, there's going to be a vision for what the future will look like. And maybe that vision is that with this temporary cutback, we'll be able to hire 20 people in 6 months. That could be part of your vision. Does that make you feel a little bit different about having to work on that?
Maybe.
Thank you, Thea. Anybody else?
Oh, I think a little bit like that as well. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes, it's a maybe, but it's this is part of understanding because we're going to make this change. Where are we going? Where are you taking me as a company? And then you have to communicate that. So the reason why understanding how I learn is I have to have different communication. So in this book, it's super cute because they talk about understanding all the different kinds of penguins. And one of the things that penguins really like to do is they like to eat. So they decided that they would have a penguin that would communicate wearing a placard. So imagine, those guys that stand on, or girls that stand in a spinning sign with going out of business or sale. Penguins were swimming with placards saying, hey, our iceberg's melting. We need to, make some changes. So they were communicating that, the vision and what the future could be, and they communicated it in many different ways. So understanding how we feel appreciated can fall into that as well. So you got to make sure you communicate and understand the people and communicate in a way that they can hear it. Next step is, I know I'm going through this really fast, but next step is to empower others to act on that vision. So one of the things that in the book with the penguins, they even got the kids involved because the solution involved sending off penguins to scout for a different iceberg. And so those penguins needed to have enough food to take with them so that they could be gone on their long journey. And that meant that they needed to raise funds. So the kids did a school program that allowed them to purchase extra food, and everyone got involved in that vision. So when we think about changes in organizations, and where I think organizations fail most is, first of all, we don't really understand why they're making the change. How many of you have been involved in a change in your organization where it's just literally one day announced that something big is changing?
Too many times.
I know, too many times. Thanks. Anyone else?
I used to work as an inbound customer service rep, and every 2 weeks they would change the way they graded us.
Oh,
I mean, how many times you say please, how many, I mean, so it would rattle us because
yeah.
we would have to retrain over and over, and we never knew why.
And how would you even feel? Yeah, you never knew why. So I think part of understanding why something needs to change is very, very powerful in getting people to accept the change, right? So why we need to change, getting a bunch of people to talk about it, helping communicate, this is okay, we're going to change, but this is where we're going, communicating, and then getting me involved so that I can be part of that future and the vision is also really helpful. The next step is to plan and create short-term wins. So I think we're probably pretty familiar with that as a concept. So maybe the vision is going to be over 5 years to implement something, but what is it that I can do now to show that we are making movement towards that vision, and celebrating those short-term wins could be helpful. Next is once you have your vision, you need to consider if it needs to be improved. Certainly those of you who are working on agile teams and you have retrospectives and you're looking and saying, okay, I've implemented this change, but we've got to accept that, the only thing constant in life is change. So what could go more what could be more effective? How can I help people more? What feedback am I getting from people? And do I listen to the feedback and then make changes and adjustments as we're trying to move to this new vision? And then finally institutionalizing new approaches. So in the book, eventually the penguins find a place. The short-term win is the scouts came back and found a place, and they had a big parade and celebrated the scouts and what they had done and how they'd found it, and they made a plan to move, and everyone made it. And then of course they now have a new approach because now they know that their home could be temporary and they might have to do this again. So it's a super quick read, but very applicable to every change in an organization. If you do this as you look through what you have to change, you're going to be more successful in implementing change. So I recommend that you read that. This gets back to
Heather,
communication.
We've got some interesting
Sure.
comments that have come through the
Oh,
chat.
please. Yes. Okay.
One
me go back.
was if we let people know that what needs to change and why it needs to change, maybe somebody will have the answer. Oftentimes we have changes that don't actually apply to the solution. I mean, don't actually fit the problem, and they just change, trying to hope that it fit. And then Bob noted the right people should be involved and as many as possible, but that doesn't always mean everyone. However, more information is usually better than less.
Oh, great feedback. Yes. So, oh my goodness. Okay, let me tell you a super quick story about problems and the root. We'll take this back to BABOK, and one of the techniques is root cause analysis. So part of the idea of change is forming that powerful guiding coalition. So make sure you get the people involved that can help you solve the right problem. So here's a quick story. Imagine reading a newspaper article. Yes, there used to be newspapers. It's online now. It's okay. And in that article, there is a tragedy. The tragedy is that a child was killed in a car with a car. So there was a car accident. It was a tragedy. And a community decided that they were going to implement and spend $500,000 on speed bumps. So if you read that far in the article, and those are the facts you have, what do you think would have been the reason why that child was killed?
Speeding.
Yes. Anyone else have a different idea?
Yeah,
Who and
speeding or not paying attention.
yes. So the speed bump would slow a car down and be annoying enough that someone might be jarred to pay attention. Very reasonable answers, yes. However, you read in the article and you get some more facts. One, the driver was not charged with speeding. And two, the accident happened on Halloween at 8 o'clock at night. This happened to be in Dallas, Texas, 8 o'clock at night and Halloween. What are some other situations going on in that neighborhood?
Trick-or-treating.
Right. And so because of that, what's going on?
Kids in the street.
Kids, yeah, kids running places, darting in and out.
Yes.
And people in masks.
Yes, visibility, a problem, kids running around unattended. And so is it likely that a community just spent $500,000 to annoy drivers every single day? And in fact, the same situation could happen?
Yes.
Yeah, so they didn't solve the right problem, did they? What are some other things that could be done? Probably something that didn't cost any money. What are some other solutions you can think of that would solve that problem?
No,
Of
you could have a
Halloween parents.
police there at night. Yeah, that one night.
Yeah,
Far
you could.
cheaper than changing the whole thing.
And then you don't annoy people every single day they drive in that neighborhood. Yeah, or I mean, could you have, is there some sort of a ordinance you could put in place for that night?
Sure.
No driving.
Yeah, for 2 hours, you are not allowed to drive in this neighborhood. Is that annoying?
Yes, but it's annoying for 2 hours.
Oh, hello, hallelujah. Yes. So think about that all this comes down to analysis. Like, let's solve the right problem. I know many of you, like myself, have had projects that are speed bumps. And they annoy someone and they don't solve the problem and they're expensive. And no one is really thinking through what's the right problem, right? So root cause analysis is super important, and getting the right people involved and talking through to understand, using a lot of the techniques that you're learning and studying about from the BABOK, all powerful. So I love that story and why we should not install speed bumps. And that's also what we should plan for change, right? So thinking about communication. So communication is, I swear, I do consider myself a powerful communicator, and I study it and I practice it, and I still don't get it right. It's going to be something that I go to my grave, and I'm probably in heaven going to be trying to figure out how to say something better too.
There is no way to do it 100% all the time, so don't have that expectation. Do it the best you can.
You do. So this poor girl who Do you feel like that when you read those emails that come across your laptop sometime? It's like,
Sure.
what's going on? Doesn't even know somebody do it. Do you feel like someone is screaming at you? Or the girl with her hand up, like, I am literally not listening to you anymore, even though you're trying to communicate. So communication can feel like that. It's very frustrating. We need to make sure that when we're considering organizational changes or talking with people, that we are very clear about sending a message that a receiver can hear. And part of that is feedback. Part of that is making sure, if I have a person who's an auditory learner and my preferred style is visual, so I'm constantly sending emails rather than picking up the phone, how successful is my message being received?
You're not speaking their language. It's literally
Yeah.
a language.
It is. So you're not very successful, are you? So that's why knowing people and how you communicate with them and having many different ways that you communicate a message. So if there's a change coming up, don't have a single email. Don't have a single way to say it. Think about everyone involved and how they all need to say it. I mean, maybe you need some presentations where people listen. If you're in person, you might need a town hall where someone can come and ask questions. And maybe if it's a system change, you're going to have to do pilots and demos and have them give feedback as you're working through those changes. Those are just, there's no one way to do it, right? I think part of the mistakes that organizations make is like, this is the only way we're communicating. And people still don't get that, right? So just think about that and change as well. I love this slide. Take a moment
Yes,
to
I feel this slide.
I do too. And this is very generalized. And so each of us have components of either one at times. But there is a lot of difference in how we communicate. So we can't make an assumption that just because I understand it, someone else is going to understand it. So be mindful of people, which is why as a business analysis professional, getting to know someone and having a conversation and understanding like how they feel appreciated. If someone trusts you and someone appreciates you, you are going to listen more carefully. You're going to want to have that conversation to give feedback if you don't understand. If you don't respect someone and you don't trust them, you're probably going to move to silence and ignore the message. Does anybody disagree with this slide? This would be a fun one to talk about if you do.
For those of us who are married, oh yeah.
It's so true. I have two sons and we do not speak the same by any ways. So now we're going to talk just a little bit about empathy and just being kind. I love, Thea, how you opened up this meeting and you're so respectful and how you're talking to people and welcoming. And if we'd had time, we could have said hello to every single person and say, you know what, I'm glad you're here today. Taking a moment to acknowledge another person's presence virtually, in person, however you want to do it, is really important. You never know what someone's going through. You need to be welcoming, you need to listen. And every single one of us is dealing with something. I had a good friend last night. I spent some time with her. And actually, just before this presentation, she called me in tears because this woman had been misdiagnosed with a disease that she was given 2 years to live. And she got the news that she was sicker than a dog for 6 months. And the reason she was sicker than a dog is because she's misdiagnosed and this medicine wasn't helping. And now she has a new lease on life, but she has a situation with her sister, and her sister is not being kind. And she says, I was going to die and now I get to live, and she's being so mean. Now, that's a silly example maybe, but you never know the situations that people are dealing with. And so if you have a person that is really difficult and they're not communicating well, maybe take a moment to sit with them. Maybe take a moment to ask them, how are you today? And really be present and listen to them. And you might realize the reason that they're not doing their work or they're missing deadlines or whatever is because they're dealing with some really heavy family situation, right? And it does no good to make them feel worse. Um, I do think empathy is going to be the number one distinguishable uh, skill for the future of business analysis professionals. We have to understand people and we have to be willing to, um, assume positive intent and not be angry with each other. It costs nothing to smile, costs nothing to say thank you. It costs nothing to say, I'm glad you're here. Expressing gratitude will change your life. It'll change your business analysis practice. I can tell you from experience. People share with me and people help me in my work because I care about them. And so I think, any thoughts on that from anyone else in your experience and how you've dealt with people?
I believe strongly in what you're describing. So it makes the conversation completely different.
Does.
I, I, years and years ago, I was working as help desk, and I got a call from a person just super angry and screaming and treating me really bad. And not about the problem, but that she treated me bad. And then a while after, like they sent me a message asking me for forgiveness and stuff. And
Mm,
it's just like you say, you never know what the other person is going through, and being kind, being there and listen, and also know when to say, okay, you're not going to treat me like this, is important
yes.
things.
Yes, Andrea, that's a good point. We need to have boundaries. No one can abuse you. That is not okay. And setting those boundaries is absolutely reasonable. My mom taught me something that I find priceless. And she says, no one is worthless. You can always be a bad example. And that sounds strange, but I know each of us has received an email or been on the receiving end of a comment that was inappropriate, unprofessional, cruel, even. And that person, when I receive that, I think to myself, I never want to make another person feel that way. So I choose to see value in that, even though it is not a good thing to happen, right? So I had a boss once, and I love this too. He talked about receiving an email that just was, berating and screaming and frustrating and all these kinds of things that none of it's effective. And he said, when I get those kind of emails, I just sit back and I say, gosh, somebody's having a bad day. Glad I could be here for you, buddy. And he closes his email, doesn't respond to it, doesn't acknowledge it, just lets it be. And what a power there is in that too. Glad I could be there for you. And you think, gosh, I never want to send an email like that. So being kind.
Oh,
Uh,
you say that. I've made it a practice. You ever get an email like that? You force yourself to wait at
yeah.
least an hour or two before
Oh,
you write any kind of response.
yeah.
Because your first response is, how dare you? You ass, da 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 da. Get up, walk away, respond later. Um,
Yes.
always
Oh,
works better.
it does. It's so I didn't have it in this presentation, but I would recommend another book for you, and that book is Crucial Conversations. Thea and I are both fans of that book. We've talked about it. Um, Part of the success of having a difficult conversation is taking emotion out of it. So if you are in the middle of something where you feel as someone's disrespected you, and likely rightly so, they're definitely treating you poorly. This is not acceptable. Um, then yeah, you can step away and stick to facts. And there are definitely techniques in there that can help you have that conversation better. But yeah, walk away, totally walk away. And if you can, just don't respond. Like silence is a powerful tool. It is, it is a response. And if someone is that disrespectful, they don't warrant a response sometimes too. So
So
I
feel
can't,
like a support coming back, like having a third party that's neutral, just to kind
yep,
of review my response after I've had something like that, just to make sure
yep,
I'm not adding things I shouldn't be. And it's somebody
yes,
that the other person respects too, or if I need to
right.
mediate to bring that third person back in that's neutral.
Yeah. That's a
that's a good
that's great.
strategy.
That is a good strategy. And yeah, and it takes some practice, but it can be done. You can really like separate the emotion of what someone's saying with the facts and respond. And I bet you, Sue, when you've done that and you've been able to respond more rationally and respectfully, and anyone that's part of that email chain or privy to it will look at the other person and think, whoa, what a jerk.
Not all the time, because the people that you seem to have those run-ins with a lot of times might be a repeated thing. And the more you have it happen, the more it seems to escalate. So they
Mm,
may say, hey, you have to take a little edge off yourself too. Here's some of the things you're doing. And then I can back down and say, oh yeah, right. That's just got my ire up.
if your communication back is along that lines, but if you're able to tone it out and leave it out, then the other person glaringly is not managing their feelings very well, right? So it's hard. It's not easy
Right.
stuff. But the more that we practice it, the better off we're going to be. So yeah, being aware that everybody's got stuff and just giving them the benefit of the doubt, I think is part of success as well. But right, to stand up for yourself and don't take disrespect and abuse them. That's never okay. So there's a line to that as well. So that's a little some thoughts about working with people, change and empathy. I think we got a little bit of time if you have any questions. Thank you for listening. Stop sharing. Thanks for inviting me into your community. It's been great. Hopefully this was helpful. You got one or two things that you
More
maybe
than
look
that,
at. Okay, good. I know it was a lot of stuff. So much stuff to
there
share.
is a lot of stuff, and there's been
It is.
really fantastic comments, but the comments were
Good.
kind of conversations, and so I didn't
Oh,
bring them in
good.
from
Oh,
what
good.
we had, but there's great comments. Um, One thing I'd like to add is setting clear expectations whenever you're dealing with change is really important. That way everyone has the same understanding and they're not surprised. People being surprised feels like they're being betrayed.
It
And
does.
so you want to clear expectations. Um, the people that you ask to get involved with the effort initially, you need to pick your early adopters. If you don't know what an early adopter is, go look it up, because those are the people that will help you motivate other people to
Yeah.
accept the change.
We
And
could
the last
have a
thing,
no we have a no, whole nother session about that too, Thea. Those are
yes,
all good things. And your detractors and your saboteurs and all that kind of
right,
stuff.
right. And the last thing is whenever someone disrespects you, uh, remember that it doesn't change your value. It just shows you who they are, and it shows everyone who they are. If you can keep that in your mind, it helps you respond in a more charitable way, because it simply doesn't affect you. It's just coming out of their face, not changing who you are or your value.
Yeah, I had a leader once give me some great advice about what she would call the business analysis umbrella.
Yeah.
I feel like a sacrificial lamb in my role a lot. Like I'm
Mhm.
responsible for lots of stuff. I get pretty much blamed for things. And
Right.
okay, so putting up your umbrella and just letting those comments roll off. Easier sometimes than others,
Mm-hmm.
but there's another book I would recommend. I think it's The Four Agreements.
Mm-hmm.
The Four Agreements is a Toltec Native American Indian wisdom book, and one of the things in there is to never take anything personally. If someone mistreats you, if someone says something to you that's unkind, I guarantee you it's likely projection from themselves. They're not feeling good about something, so they want to make you feel bad. Um, and just you have to just not take it personally. It sounds
Right.
so sounds so easy. Oh my goodness.
It does sound
Yeah.
easy, and it's hard to put into practice.
Because
These are ways that we grow ourselves.
it is, because I know all the words and I know how to use them, and they're not always nice.
Many analysts are good wordsmiths.
Yes, yes, yes.
But you never,
good.
seriously, you don't know what's going on
No.
in other people's lives.
No.
There are horrible things happening that are happening to people that you know. You don't know what they are, and you don't know what they're dealing with. And give them a break. If you've had bad things happen to you, you know what it's like to have to try to function at work while you're dealing with things. So
Yes.
if you've lived life for a little while, you probably have been there. Understand other people may be there and you're not aware of it. We are at the end of our time. And Heather, I'm so sad to say that because I've enjoyed this so much.
Yes.
And I think most of us have. Next week, again, we're going to have LN come in and talk about the mechanics and the preparation to prep for the three CBAP, the three BABOK certifications and what you can expect in actually taking the test.
Yeah.
We try to do this a couple of times a year, but this is the first time we've had someone in Ellen's position to come in, and I have a feeling that we're going to be surprised at how good it is. So if you know anybody who's interested in taking any of the certifications, have them come and we will try to provide something valuable to you. And I will see y'all in a week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.